So there's a couple of very impressive things about this protest. One is the actual turnout is way more than I thought it would be, which is great to see. The second one is we're actually leaving pretty much on time. The poster said stands up at 12. It's now 7 minutes past 12 and we're rolling out. Which, if you attend any motorcycle anything in Ireland, you'll know that's kind of unheard of. Everything tends to run late with all the flapping and all the messing around. So yeah, off to a great start. For those of you wondering why we're protesting, we're out today to try and get some attention around the fact that just the sheer volume of motorcycles being robbed in Ireland, especially in Dublin, is just absolutely out of control. And it's out of control because An Garda Síochána do not have the powers to intervene, to pursue, to prevent. Like, their hands really are tied. It's a small number of scrope bags robbing the majority of the bikes. And bike theft was, not always a big problem in Ireland. It was definitely there. But just the sheer number of bikes being robbed over the last while is unheard of. And previously, bikes would have been robbed and they would have been, rallied in certain parts of Dublin, whatever. But then some of them also would have been robbed for parts and spare parts. The whole black market, that the kind of thing that exists anywhere, really. But what's happened recently is that all the bikes that have been robbed just end up getting rallied and put on TikTok for clout by these scumbags. And it's really heartbreaking for people when, your pride and joy is taken, obviously. No one ever wants to get their bike robbed. But then to see it plastered all over social media and, this is a machine that, you've probably given a lot of care and attention to, looked after, and then they don't give a shit. They just drive the absolute arse out of it until it explodes, or they get bored of it, want to rob another bike and, dump it in a river or set it on fire in a field, and yeah, it's heartbreaking. And unfortunately in Ireland, nothing really changes until it's too late, And I really don't want it to be a case that someone has to get seriously hurt, or worse, for some action to be taken. So we had a thing last year where there's an American tourist was assaulted in Temple Bar. If you don't know, Temple Bar is the main kind of tourist trap area of Dublin. And for a long time we've been saying the streets were getting more dangerous and, crime was on the rise, and nothing was really done about it. The feedback was, there's no budget for overtime for the guards. We can't increase patrols, yada yada. And then an American tourist gets robbed, the absolute crap kicked out of him, and ends up in intensive care. And suddenly, the story went viral almost around the world, and Ireland relies a lot on tourism as a big part of its revenue, and yeah, we have a massive tourism industry here, and America is one of the largest parts of that. So suddenly now we're getting international attention. The Justice Minister, Helen McEntee, was out doing these high-profile walkarounds in these dangerous areas, saying no, the streets are safe. And then quietly additional budget was freed up for additional patrols. So, I don't want it to take someone getting put in a hospital for this issue to get the attention it deserves. And I hate to say it, but I think it's only a matter of time before that happens, because the little scrope bags who are robbing the bikes, they're coming tooled up. They have hammers and knives and, iron bars and stuff, and they've taken swings at people who try to step in, like sometimes the owner's bike, sometimes the general public. There's a lot of videos surfacing online of them just rolling up and robbing a bike, it's a case of gone in 60 seconds. If you only have something like a disc lock on it, they just come up and lump hammer the shit out of it till it falls off, and they don't care if they damage your bike trying to steal it. They don't give a fuck, they just want to take it. And if anyone tries to intervene, suddenly that hammer is getting swung at their heads, So what we're doing here, we've met up on the Long Mile Road. We're going to ride down in staggered formation to Molesworth Street, I think, where we're going to park outside Dáil Éireann, which is where the Irish government sits. And even though it's like a Saturday and the government's not there, this was still a good idea to organise it on a Saturday, because we're much more likely to get a better turnout like today, because a lot of people only work Monday to Fridays. And, you know, even if we'd done it on a Friday, even if we gotten the same amount of turnout or even bigger, it's not like the minister was going to come out and meet us. Like, I didn't see Helen McEntee walking through the front gates of the Dáil to go, oh, these lads want a word, so I better see what's going on here. That just wouldn't happen, you know. But what this will do is, hopefully, the numbers that turn out today, the spectacle of rolling through Dublin City, you know, the pictures we'll get, the video we'll get from outside the Dáil on Moses Street, it'll bring more attention to it. And that's the only thing that seems to focus the politicians' minds, because they're very reactionary to stuff like this. Oh, I really like that SMT. It's my favourite colour as well, in the white. Oh. I had the supermoto version of that, the 990 SM, the non-touring, and it was, I was talking to Harry, the owner there at back at the petrol station. It's the one bike I really regret selling, you know. I had a guy come all the way from Galway to buy it off me, handing me a lump of cash outside my office, and as I was watching him disappear at the gate on his new SM, I looked at the work van and I said, if I jump in now, I could probably catch him before he gets to the motorway and tell him I've changed my mind. But I didn't do that. So it's one of those bikes I really regret selling, and I always fancied the SMT version as well, because I took the 990 Supermoto touring in Europe, and it was great on anything but the motorways. And unfortunately, you just need to use some motorways sometimes. So, anyway, back on topic. That's why we're here today. There is a petition, there's an online petition. I'll link it in the description of the video, or the bio if you're watching this on Instagram. Or actually, I'll throw up a QR code and hopefully be able to scan it. Not sure how that works for watching this on your phone, but anyway. Yeah, if you could sign the petition. It's just, we're so sick of the inaction. And talking to some friends who are guards, they're sick of having their hands tied. You know, they can't get to the scene fast enough because the boys are in and gone so quickly. And if they do come across them and they have to pursue them, they can't pursue them because a lot of them are lacking the pursuit training, which sounds insane, but it's true. There's a waiting list going for years, I believe, to get the actual pursuit training that allows you to pursue in a squad car, lights and sirens. And even if they had the training and they were to be able to pursue, they can't, because the scrope bags aren't wearing helmets, so the risk to life is too great, and they have to call off the pursuit. And even if that wasn't the case, even though they were pursuing them and they did chase them down and they caused the lads to come off the bike, if that scumbag gets hurt, which is highly likely, the guard will be held liable. You think, hang on, that sounds bananas, that can't be true, but it is. And there's a case from a couple of years ago where 3 burglars drove the wrong way down a dual carriageway to evade a pursuit. The pursuit was called off, but they still kept going. And they crashed into the front of an Arctic lorry coming out of the road because they were going the wrong fucking way. And the car exploded and they all died a fiery death. And the guard who initiated that pursuit is now up for prosecution by the DPP. It's absolute bananas. The guard was doing his job. He called off the pursuit because it was getting too dangerous. He acknowledged that. And then, yeah, the lad still crashed anyway, and it's still the guard's fault, and his livelihood is now at risk. I mean, I cannot begin to understand how stressful that must be. Like, I have a pretty stressful job at times, but nothing on the case of, like, getting sued for doing my job and trying to do the right thing. It's just, it boggles the mind. So yeah, the guards need the power, they need the support from government, they need the support from higher ups to be able to clamp down on this. And I guarantee you, once they start clamping down, in a very short space of time, the amount of thefts will drop, because the scumbags will know it's not worth it. It's not worth it. They're doing it now because they're basically untouchable. You know, if I could go out commit a crime, know that no one could touch me, there's no repercussions, like, well, I wouldn't, because I'm a decent human being, I'm not a scumbag. But it's so easy for them, you know? rolling around in little gangs of 3s and 4s and swinging hammers at people and saying, "Ah," and then putting it up on TikTok and getting all the clout and all. Oh, aren't we deadly on our little robbed Vespa? Unfortunately, they are stealing some nice bikes. Not that Vespas aren't nice if you're into your Vespas. But yeah, it's heartbreaking. And if like me, like you work hard to afford the bikes and you look after them, you keep them, even though the KTM is kind of filthy from commuting. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I know Aoife, who's here on the run. She had her supermoto robbed last year, and it was just. I just saw what she went through, and she could see it. She basically could track it all over TikTok, and the guards weren't able to do anything. Unfortunately, like they're like, "Oh, it's going down this street now. It's in this area. We can't." Like, even if we did come across them, we can't intervene. We can't stop them because of risk to life. Like, they'd have to catch them parked up, fueling the bike up. You know, when there's no real risk, everyone's immobile. Oh, it's just heartbreaking. So yeah. If you hate scumbags, if you hate people who ride bikes, please do sign the petition. Doesn't matter where you are, every name counts. We just need to get government to take this seriously. The guards need the training and the resources and the support to go after them. And it will very quickly decline. It will very quickly come under control, because they had a similar problem in London years ago where, you know, scooter crime and two-wheel crime was absolutely out of control. And it was for the same reasons. The police couldn't intervene, they couldn't pursue, risk to life. So they tried like ASBO orders for those who were caught, didn't work. They tried tagging people who were found involved in this, didn't work. And next thing, they authorised tactical contact to be made. And what tactical contact means is knocking someone off a bike in such a way to minimise the risk, but at the same time, knock them off the fucking bike. And guess what? Scooter crime and two-wheel crime in general absolutely plummeted. So yeah, please do sign the petition. Other than that, I'm just going to leave some footage going of the protest right in here. And yeah, fuck scumbags, man. Fuck bike thieves. Dogs. Love dogs. I miss my dog. I was going to bring the H2 in today just to get it out for a spin. But not only was it kind of bucketing rain on and off out where I live, but I also knew this would be quite a slow protest into town. I didn't think we'd be I knew we wouldn't be getting in any kind of quick pace, and I was just a bit concerned because she runs a bit hot if you're not moving. Now, I've taken it in. I use it for commuting out of the office on nice days, and it's been absolutely fine. But yeah, even like commuting in, at least you can filter. You're very rarely stopped and slow moving. Like this is consistently slow, which is exactly what you want for a big group. But yeah. It was the right decision, I know that, but at the same time, it's such a lovely day. I wish I could have gone in, done the protest, and then just tipped off for a spin on it. A proper spin. Stretch your legs. Anyway, the KTM was the right choice. It was the sane choice. It was a logical choice, but it was not the emotional choice. It's a pity I'm not at the back, because I'd love to get a shot of the entire procession. Now, I have seen people pulled over and taken footage, so find that online afterwards. I'll throw it up here, and I'll credit the people as well, because I don't want to be stealing footage. But yeah, I'd say this is some sight, lads. Well done to the organisers for today. They got the message out there. They got the people to turn up. Not an easy thing to do. Calm down. What the fuck does that mean? And I love Dublin. I love Dublin in the sunshine as well. That's very special. Very pretty place. Rare enough that we get it. When we do, you always appreciate it. Still coming around the corner over there. It's a lot of bikes. So right now we're on Stephen's Green. We're going to turn onto Dawson Street right, and then right again. Oh, besides that. And that'll be on us onto Moses Street.
Motorcyclists rode en masse to Leinster House today to submit a petition calling for more resources to tackle vehicle theft. They say it's on the rise, depriving many of them of their only form of transport and causing emotional and financial hardship.
Every year, hundreds of motorbikes are stolen across Ireland. Campaigners say it's an epidemic that's growing. They want Gardai to have more resources to tackle this crime.
We'd like to submit a petition on behalf of the motorcyclists of Ireland.
Today, they rode through Dublin to make sure their message is heard.
They're now getting more brazen, where they're attacking the security on these motorcycles with lump hammers, with battery-powered angle grinders, with crowbars, and when people try to intervene, they're threatening them with physical violence.
The petition organisers say riders without helmets are a particular issue.
Because they don't have a helmet on, the Gardai are very, very reluctant to try and intervene with them, because if they have an accident and they're injured, the Gardai may be held liable for that.
Today, the Gardai told Virgin Media News they are currently drafting a revised pursuit policy. And the Department of Justice say they understand the Gardai have initiated a number of operations targeting motorbike theft. But for many, like Aoife Coogan, it's already too late. After her bike was stolen as she slept, she tracked it through social media, but it was too dangerous to recover it.
It was in a housing estate, but it was chaos. It was like a street party with the bike going up and down, a residential area on the back wheel.
So have you changed your behaviour because of what's happened?
Yes, absolutely. I found myself checking every day, even if I was away from business, I would look at my phone, check the cameras, etc. The fact that they've been to our home, it felt like an invasion of personal space. And it's quite scary, actually.
They hope today's outing will help stop motorbike crime in its tracks. Barbara Holmes, Virgin Media News.